Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. But we'll start with some LSU football, specifically on the recruiting front. I think we all understand that LSU's defensive line is not in a super awesome spot entering the 2024 season. I think that's fair to say across the board. Brian Kelly said that entering the offseason, we got to go in the transfer portal and we got to find some defensive tackles. And then when he was interviewed by Jock Dusey of Channel 9, he said, well, it's not going great in the transfer portal at this point. And they did add JVR Suggs from Grand Valley State, but you kind of got what you got at this point. And we all know that this is not necessarily the most talented LSU defensive line that we have ever laid eyes on as they enter the summer. And that's vitally important to building a championship program. Even in an era of basketball on grass and spreading the field and read options and getting the ball out quick and fast-paced offenses, if you can't hold your ground at the point of attack, you can't win. Doesn't matter what area it is. So LSU's got work to do on that front in terms of bringing in elite-level defensive line recruits, and they've brought in Bo Davis to do exactly that. Now, in this class that just signed, that'll be freshmen this coming fall, you signed two really high-level players in Gabriel Elliford and Don McKinley from the state of Louisiana. You also signed Ahmad Bro from Ruston and Demarion Johnson and C.J. Jackson, who's more of an edge guy but is thought of as a defensive line player. So you brought in five guys that you feel pretty good about there. How quickly can they help you out? I don't know the answer to that. It's generally speaking not a great idea to ask freshman defensive linemen to carry too much weight. But that's what you've brought in the 2024 signing class. Now you fast forward to 2025, and they're continuing to keep the pedal to the metal on the recruiting trail. And according to the folks over at On3, things look pretty good for LSU on the defensive line front. Brandon Brown is a 6'2", 275-pound defensive lineman from Melbourne, Florida. He is committed to Texas, but the folks over at On3 think LSU has really made some inroads there. Billy Embody put in his flip for LSU, and there are some that are following suit with him on On3. 92% of On3 now believes that LSU is going to flip Brandon Brown from Texas to the Tigers. That would be a really, really nice get there as for a four-star recruit. This is going to be a name that's really easy to remember for obvious reasons, but Zion Williams, not Williamson, but Zion Williams is a 6'3", 300-pound defensive lineman from Lufkin, Texas. He has announced he's going to make his decision on the 4th of July. Billy Embody, Shea Dixon, and then Steve Wiltfall, the national director of recruiting, all just think he is going to pick LSU. So that would be another guy that would get in the boat a month from right now on the 4th of July, as we sit here on the 4th of June. And the third name is Damon Shanklin, a 6'4", 215-pound edge from Indianapolis. Obviously, he's got a long frame, got a lot of time to add some weight, but he's a four-star recruit that's down to Notre Dame, LSU, and Ohio State, and Billy Embody and Steve Wilfong have both put their recruiting prediction machine predictions in for LSU. So if you could get Brandon Brown, Zion Williams, and Damon Shanklin in the span of a month here, that would really go a long way towards fortifying that position group. Remember, LSU's offensive line was in a very similar spot to this 3 years ago when Brad Davis got here. And all of a sudden, you turn around in 3 years, and the offensive line is thought to be the strength of the ball club. That's the kind of impact that Bo Davis needs to have on the other side of the ball on the defensive line. And we have no reason to believe that he's not going to have exactly that kind of impact. He did it in Tuscaloosa. He did it in Austin. He's now in Baton Rouge, and he's doing a heck of a job recruiting guys that are already committed to other schools, hammering guys that are in state, hammering guys that are out of state, and that's the blueprint for LSU. Florida's been a hotbed for LSU for a couple decades now. Texas has always been a place that LSU recruited very heavily, and then you use that national brand and the national contacts that you have because you've got Brian Kelly as your head coach, and Shanklin's a guy from Indianapolis who LSU is thought to have a real shot at. That's the blueprint for LSU recruiting. You cannot fix a defensive line overnight. You can go to the portal and give it a shot and try, but the best way to do this is the way that Brian Kelly has said for a long time that he wants to model his program after. He wants to do it from the high school ranks. He wants to recruit. He wants to develop. Then he wants to win with those guys that have been in the system for a long time. Time will tell what the best method is. I think that's it. But we'll see what Ole Miss does this year. If they come out, go 11-1, get the 2 seed, make the playoffs, and make a run to a national championship, well, portal, that seems like a pretty good way to go. But I tend to think that the schools like Georgia, like Ohio State, like Alabama, like LSU, that spend most of their time getting the elite level high school players into the program and having them for 4 years, as opposed to bringing in a guy for 6 months to go to a couple classes, play in 12 games, and then go to the draft. It feels more sustainable than the turnstiles coming every single December. And it feels like LSU's doing a really, really nice job. This past class they signed was very good. This class is shaping up to be a top 3 class in the country. You know the headliners, and it's nice to have a quarterback in Bryce Underwood, and it's nice to have a running back in Harlem Berry, have the top-level guys. But somebody's got to block, and somebody's got to stop the run and tackle. And these are the guys that LSU is very much in the mix for. So those 3 names that I gave you, Brandon Brown, Zion Williams, and Damon Shanklin, all on the defensive front, all thought to be leans toward LSU based on the folks over at On3, and all could be commitments into this 2025 class that's so highly ranked over the next 4 weeks or so, which would be fantastic news for Bo Davis, for Brian Kelly, and this entire staff. LSU continuing to do a really, really good job on the recruiting trail. I know everybody got cranky when the transfer portal thing didn't work out with defensive linemen, but I think Brian Kelly kind of got his point across, saying, like, we're going to do things a certain way over here, and that way is working, despite the fact that you came up short in the transfer portal for a couple. Like, this way is working. They're doing a great job allocating their funds, handling their business on recruiting weekends, getting guys onto campus and closing guys and making them a part of signing class. So hopefully those 3 guys are pretty quick to jump on board here over the next month or so. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.